Hello and welcome to another webinar with the Small Business Center, where every week we do a webinar on small business topics to help entrepreneurs start, run, and grow their companies. I'm Rehan Abdulmughni, your presenter, and today we are going to talk about using Pinterest to market your small business. To get started, I will tell you what Pinterest is and show you some of the numbers behind the social network, and then discuss some of the reasons why you should consider Pinterest to market your small business. Then we're going to get into the meat of the presentation today with 10 steps to Pinterest success. I'll take you from creating your account to developing your profile and give you some of the tips to successfully market your small business on Pinterest. And then I will share with you some of the case studies of how other small businesses are using Pinterest to market their company. So what is Pinterest? It's a visual photo and video sharing social networking website. In that sense, it's very much like Flickr. You can upload your images and videos just like you do on Flickr, but it is not exactly like Flickr. The main power behind Pinterest, it's a social network. In that sense, it is much like Twitter. Pinterest is to images what Twitter is to text. Once you have uploaded your images and videos, you can share that with your social network on Pinterest. If you haven't seen Pinterest yet, this is what Pinterest board looks like. As you can see, there is a lot of images here, not much text. Now, while there isn't much text and very much the focus of Pinterest is on visual images, you should still have right text on your images, on your profile, and on your board with keywords, with the right keywords, so that people can find you easily, both while searching Pinterest as well as using search engines such as Google and Bing. So according to Pinterest, it is a virtual pin board. It lets you organize and share all the beautiful things you find on the web. People use pin boards to plan their weddings, decorate their homes, and organize their favorite recipes. Now, I've used this verbatim definition from Pinterest itself, and there are three things that I would like to point out. First is the beautiful things. Pinterest is a visual medium. If you don't have images or videos, then you shouldn't be on Pinterest. It is not a text-based network. It is an image and video based network. So you must have visually appealing content to make use of Pinterest. The second point is that people use Pinterest. Don't forget that the users on Pinterest are not there to buy from you. They're there to enhance their own life. So if you are on Pinterest just to sell your products, you're probably not going to be very successful. You have to appeal to the people to come and take a look at your content, which is going to be appealing to them irrespective of what you're selling to them. Now, this is of course true for any social network, whether you're on Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn. If you are constantly selling your product, you're not going to be very successful. And the other point in this definition from Pinterest that I'd like to make is that according to Pinterest, you plan your weddings, decorate your home, or organize your recipes. While that may be true, that is not the only thing that you can use Pinterest for. There are many other things that you can use Pinterest for. If you remember back when Twitter started, most people thought that Twitter was only there to tell your friends what you're having for breakfast. Now, those of you who are using Twitter for business, you know that Twitter is far more powerful than telling other people what your meal is about. Same thing with Pinterest. You can use Pinterest to sell and promote your business. That does not have to be, generally speaking, about consumer product. Having said that, however, consumer products do tend to do better on Pinterest than non-consumer products. Let me give you some of the numbers behind Pinterest. Currently, there are approximately 20 million users on the network. This is not an accurate number. I was not able to find the exact number for the user base on Pinterest. What I found was somewhere between 17 million and 20 million. So this is probably a little bit on the higher end. Majority of the Pinterest users are currently in the US, and majority of the US users are suburban women between the ages of 35 and 44 years old. However, in the UK, the demographics is slightly different, where a slight majority of them are men between the ages of 25 and 34. But it is not the number of users that Pinterest has that makes it a compelling channel for marketing your small business, but rather how much time those users spend on Pinterest. As a comparison between Pinterest, Twitter, and Facebook, which are currently from the monthly visitors perspective, are the three biggest social networks right now. While Pinterest has a lot less user base than Twitter, it has a significant number of people visiting it on a monthly basis. 104 million visitors per month versus 182 million visitors for Twitter. Now, of course, as you can see, Twitter does have a bit more visitor numbers than Pinterest, but Twitter also have a lot more users than Pinterest. So it's interesting to see how much time Pinterest users are spending on that website versus Twitter users spending on Twitter website. More importantly, users on average spend an hour and a half a month on Pinterest versus less than half an hour on Twitter. Why is that important? Because the longer somebody is on a website, the more likely they are to engage with you. So what that means is they are probably more likely to engage with you on Pinterest than they are on Twitter, and this is particularly true if you do have a consumer-oriented product. If you do have a retail product, then you are better off using Pinterest over Twitter. Now, for retailers, Pinterest does drive more traffic to their websites than LinkedIn, YouTube, or Google+. I would like to point out that this is true for retailers. If your business is not retail oriented or consumer oriented, this may not be entirely true. Now, having said that though, retailers are not the only companies or organizations that are on Pinterest. As I said earlier, if your organization or company is not consumer related or retail related, you can still use Pinterest successfully to promote your business or organization. As you can see here, this is the Pinterest profile for Kansas City Police Department. While they're not a retail-oriented organization, they still believe that their presence on Pinterest will help with their brand awareness, will help with their brand recognition, and will help with the engagement with their community. Similarly, General Electric does have a lot of businesses. Some of them are consumer oriented, others are not. General Electric, for example, make engines for airplanes. As you can see from here, much of their boards are very geeky. For example, Badass Machines, which is the very first board. Here, what they're telling you, what you can gather from that even if you are selling business to business, Pinterest might still be a good channel for you if your content is visually appealing. So don't necessarily discount Pinterest simply because your business is not consumer oriented or retail oriented. So does it make sense for your business? Pinterest is the newest kid on the block, and you have to decide as a small business owner whether you can afford to put resources in yet another channel to market your business. If you're already marketing on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube, do you have the time, do you have the money to then bring on Pinterest as well? No doubt that Pinterest could be good for your promotion and marketing, particularly if you are a retail business. It is definitely good for search engine optimization, and currently the lack of competition on Pinterest means that you may get more traction than you might get on Facebook or on Twitter. Now, having said that, keep in mind that many of the social networks in the past have not necessarily done as well as the hype had suggested at the time. Foursquare, for example, comes to mind. Foursquare, about 18 months ago, 24 months ago, everybody thought was the next biggest social networking site out there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out as well as everybody expected. Same thing is unfortunately happening towards Google Plus. Now, I want to point out that Google Plus is still important as your in your marketing in your marketing mix, not so much from the social perspective, but from the search engine perspective. Having said that, keep in mind that we don't know what's going to happen in the next 18 months to 24 months. Is Pinterest going to continue in attracting more users, or is it going to decline? Nobody knows. So be careful when you're assigning and allocating your resources towards yet another marketing channel. Having said that, let me give you a case study from Martha Stewart. As you can see from Pinterest followers of Martha Stewart's are, while quite respectable, are minute in comparison to her followers on Twitter and Facebook. Even though, that being said, Pinterest has driven more traffic to Martha Stewart than Facebook and Twitter combined. So imagine the implication of Pinterest. While the number of followers for Martha Stewart is much less than Twitter and Facebook followers, it still drove more traffic to her website than both Facebook and Twitter combined. Can you have similar successes in your business? That's what you have to think about. Here's an example of a Pinterest profile for a company that sells figurine. Demi is a marketing person, and when she came across Pinterest, she decided to build a profile for her father's business. Her father sells these figurines, so she decided to build a Pinterest profile for him. As you can see, it only has 7 pins, not a lot of them, and it only took her about an hour to develop this Pinterest profile. And very quickly, she was able to get about 60 followers to follow the profile. Now, for an hour's worth of work, getting 60 potential customers is not necessarily a bad deal, right? And that's what you need to weigh against. If it takes you an hour to experiment with something, then perhaps why not? And if it doesn't work out, then you perhaps have wasted a couple of hours in the experiment and figured out if that worked for you or didn't work for you. So that's what we are going to do today. I'm going to take you from the 10 steps that you're going to need to create a profile that will get you to build on this experiment and see if this is going to be something that you want to then pursue further and take it to the next step. Step 1 is to get an account. Now, until very recently, Pinterest was in beta and with invite only, and you can only create an account with invitation only. However, it has now opened up its website, and to sign up, all you have to do is go to pinterest.com and click on Join Pinterest. When you do that, you will be given 3 options. You can either create an account using your Facebook account, or you can create an account using your Twitter account, or you can create an account using your email address. You can use one of the 3 ways that you like. Once you have created an account and logged in, the first thing you will see is this screen. You will see this image file that will be scrolling upward with this text saying building feed, which is very confusing because at this point you're probably thinking that Pinterest is doing something, it's building a feed, and you want to wait and let it finish doing what it is doing. Unfortunately, it will do nothing except for the scrolling image up here and a continuous message here saying building feed. What you need to do when you log in the first time is click on your drop down menu next to your logo or your name and click on settings. When you click on settings, you will come to your profile editing page, and this is the first step that you need to do. Obviously, you want to make sure that your email is correct. You can change that if you want to. Now, here's the thing with Pinterest. Currently, Pinterest only have personal accounts, not business accounts. So in essence, it's asking you for your first name and your last name rather than your business name. So what you need to do is, if this is what you're building for your business, what you need to do is something like what we have done here, where we have said a small business is our first name and center is our last name. And I will come back to this, why this is important, in just a minute. The next thing you want to do is select a username. Now you can select any username that you want as long as it's available. Keep in mind that your Pinterest URL will be pinterest.com/username. So whatever username is you're going to pick will be appended to pinterest.com URL. There are several suggestions I can give you. First of all, pick a username that may be your business name. That is one way to go. Now keep in mind that you have a maximum of 15 characters. That's 15 characters for a username. As you can see, we have used a shortened form of our username, SB Center, rather than a small business center, because a small business center is longer than 15 characters. So the first option you have for a username is to pick your business name. The second option that you have is potentially to pick a keyword. If there is one keyword that is very popular in your industry that most of your customers search for, then you may want to use that keyword as your username, provided of course that keyword is available as a username. However, keep in mind that if that keyword changes in the future to another keyword that becomes more popular, then you may have to have that issue where you may have to change your username, which may or may not, and the new username may or may not be available. For your gender, if you are an organization or a company, you most probably want to use unspecified. And then there's an About Us section. You have about 500 characters for the About Us section. What you want to do is write a short description of what your company is. Include your address and phone number if you are a local business and you do allow people to come to your business. But don't forget to use keywords in your description. Now, I am not suggesting or even recommending that you stuff the About section with keywords. Please don't do that. Write a About Us section that is going to be readable and human readable, but don't forget to include keywords in that section. So for example, we help entrepreneurs grow their business by providing training, tools, templates, and coaching. Join our free webinars and learn how to grow your company. So what are the keywords we are using here? Entrepreneurs, training, and webinars. So somebody searching for entrepreneur training or entrepreneur webinars, we hopefully will rank better than we did if we had not had this keywords in the About Us profile. Now in the edit profile, if you scroll down slightly, you will have more fields you can fill in. For example, your location. Once again, if you are a local business, especially with a storefront or an office front, you most probably want to include your location. For example, Phoenix, Arizona. The next two sections are self-explanatory. You want to include your website address and your image file, most probably your logo. Now you can of course also connect with Facebook and Twitter if you turn both on. And this is another confusing thing on Pinterest. By default, this section where it says hide your Pinterest profile from search engine is set to off, and I recommend that you keep it off. If you turn this button to on, search engines will not index your Pinterest profile, and if it doesn't index your Pinterest profile, then you are going to forego your search engine optimization using Pinterest. So make sure that you keep this button off. Pinterest used to allow you to delete your account, but they have taken that feature off. They no longer allow you to delete their account, but you can deactivate your account if you want to. Once you have completed your profile, click on the Save button, and this is what your profile looks like. Now, when I said, if you remember, I said to include your first name and last name as your business name. This is where this information is coming from. Had you included your first name and last name, then your name will show up here rather than your business name. This is of course coming from the About Us section. This is your logo image. This is the URL to your website, URL to your Twitter profile. We don't have our Facebook profile here, but if we did, that will show up here. And then if we had a location, for example, as I suggested, Phoenix, Arizona, that would have shown up here. Before we move on, let me tell you something about the Pinterest lingo. There are four things you want to be familiar with. The first one is pin. When you pin an image or a video to your board, it's called a pin. A board is a collection of pins. You can have as many pins as you like, and you can have as many boards as you like. So for example, you want to use the board to categorize your different interests on your profile. As an example, let's say you are a travel agency and you specialize in travel to Europe. You can have a board for each country that you specialize in. So for example, you can have a board for the UK, you can have a board for France, you can have a board for Portugal, you can have a board for Spain. And within each of those boards, you can have images and videos related to that particular board. So for example, your images of your Eiffel Tower can go on the board for France. Repinning is when you take somebody else's image on Pinterest from somebody else's Pinterest profile and you repost them on your own board. You can add your own messages to a repin if you like. And then like. Like is very similar to Facebook like, where you can like a particular profile, you can like a particular board, or you can even like a particular image or video, in essence, like a particular pin. So you can like anything from a profile all the way down to a particular item. Let's start with creating a board. When you have put your profile up, as you can see here, this is the page you will see. You currently have no boards, and to start off with, you can click on the board name and it would allow you to put the name of the board. Now when you're thinking about the name of the board, I will recommend that you think about keywords. So in our example of a travel agency, you can have a board name, for example, places to travel in the UK, or you can have France travel destinations, or you can have summer in Europe, or you can have sightseeing tours in Spain, right? Whatever the keywords you think is going to help others, travelers, find your Pinterest board, either on Pinterest itself or on search engines like Google or Bing. So think about keywords that will get people to find you. At this point, let me actually take you live to our Pinterest boards, to our Pinterest profile, and show you how to do a step essentially 3 to 10. So this is what our Pinterest board looks like. As I said previously, this is our name, our About Us section, our logo, our website address, and Twitter account. We currently have 9 boards, 23 pins, and we have 34 followers, and we are following 1 profile. So we are going to create a new board. To create a board, click on Add. And when you do that, you have 3 options: add a pin, upload a pin, or create a board. The first thing we are going to do is create a board. And we are going to create a board for Pinterest marketing. So we're going to call it Pinterest marketing for small businesses. There are a variety of different categories you can pick for this particular board, and if none of these categories fits you, you can always use other. In our case, we are going to pick education because that's what we do. You can also have somebody else be responsible for, in addition to yourself, responsible for adding pins to this particular board. Now in our case, we don't have anybody else, but if we did, all we had to do is add their email address here and click on add. So this is our board name, Pinterest Marketing for Small Business. It's under the education category, and I am going to create a board. So now our board is created. I want to click on Edit Board, and the first thing I will do is add a description to what this board is about. Again, you have about 500 characters for that, and think of keywords you can use in your description. At this point, instead of writing a long description, I'm simply just going to copy and paste my title and click on Save Settings. Now if I go back to my profile, I have a new board called Pinterest Marketing for a Small Business with 0 pins. First thing I would want to do is I want to move this board up to the very top simply because I want to. So I will click on this little icon that says rearrange boards. When I do that, it gives me the ability to pick any board I want and simply drag it to any place that I want to and just drop it. Once I have moved it to the place I want to, I'll click on this tick box which says save arrangement, and that will make sure that my board will stay here. Next thing I want to do is add a pin. Now there are 3 ways you can add a pin. Let me show you all of those 3 ways. Again, if you go all the way up, click on add, and the first one I will do is simply click on add a pin. When you add a pin, it's asking you for the URL from where you want to add your pin from. So what I will do is I want to add something from our blog. So I will just go to the blog page for our website and copy the URL from there. And I'll just simply copy this URL. And I will add that here. What it will do is it will go to that page and it will look for an image file or a video file. It has found the video that we have in here, and it's asking me now to do 2 things. First of all, pick a category, which is Pinterest marketing for a small business. And it's asking me to describe what this pin is about. And again, it will give you 500 characters to do this. Now, obviously, you would want something more descriptive than saying describe the pin, but that's essentially what you will do. And if you click on the Twitter box here, it will also post this pin to your Twitter account. And then you simply click on pin it. And you now have this video pinned in there. And if I click on that, it will play the video.
Hello from the Small Business Center.
Okay, so let me stop that and let's go back to our profile. And we have 1 pin showing up on our profile now. The next way to add a pin is if I go back to the pin here again, it will ask me to upload a pin. So I can upload a pin from my desktop. So let's do that. It will ask me to choose a file. And we will use the pin that we already have here. And again, it will look for the image. It will ask you to describe the pin. And once again, you can click on Twitter if you like. So I'm just going to say describe a pin. Oops. And I will pin that image. Now if you go back to our profile, we now have 2 pins. I'm not quite sure why the first one is not showing up. We will look into that in just a second. Now, as I said, there are 3 ways to pin it. The next one is to repin somebody else's pin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search Pinterest itself for other images around Pinterest marketing for a small business. So and now these are the pins from other people, from other users that have used Pinterest as have used with that tag Pinterest marketing for a small business, and I particularly like this one. So if I hover above it, I can like this, I can comment on it, or I can repin it. So I'm going to repin that. I can change the description and I can change the category. So the category I'm okay with, and I'm going to change the description because I want the description to say something about my business. Okay, so that's done. And if I now go back, so now I have three images here. The first one that I pinned using the URL, the second one that I pinned using the uploading it from my desktop, and then the pin that I have repinned from somewhere else. Now when you put a pin on a board, it will always show the cover of that board with the latest pin, and you can certainly do that, keep it always refreshed. But if you have a particular image that you always want to show up front, you can also do that. So you hover above that board, click on edit board cover, and then you can select from these pins that I already have to say which one I want to be my account. In this particular case, I would like my video to be the cover. Now once I have set that as cover, the next time I upload a new pin, it will not be set as the cover. It will go down below in one of these boxes, unless of course I change the cover again. So that's how you create a board and how you add pins to those boards. The next step, which is step number 5, is a most important step, which is to make sure to be able to drive traffic to your website, you have the appropriate URL in each one of the pins that you put up. So for example, this is the first one that I have put up, but I have used my own URL to link to the page. So the link to that is the correct link. I don't have to worry about that. But the one that I just pinned from somebody else's pin, if I click on edit to that, you will notice that the link is actually going somewhere else. Now you can of course leave the link as is and drive traffic to somebody else's website, which is perfectly fine if you want to do that. But more likely what you would want to do is drive traffic to your own website. So you want to change the link to your own website. What you really want to do is change the link to a particular page on the website that relates to this image, not just to your home page. Now in this particular case, I will just leave it to my home page, but more likely you want to put it to your landing page. This is an important bit, so when I click on that image now, it will take me to my home page. And this is how really you're going to drive traffic to your website, and therefore it's important that you do that. So we have now created an account, we have built a profile, we have created a few boards, and we have added a few pins to those boards, and we have linked those pins to our website. This is essentially the basics of Pinterest. The next question is, how do you use it? The first thing you want to do is make sure that your images are visually appealing. If you don't have visually appealing content on Pinterest, then you're not going to be able to engage with the user base on Pinterest. What that means is, first of all, make sure that you have high quality images and that you have good quality videos as well, or at least information based videos. To be honest with you, our videos are not high quality, certainly not as high quality as we would like, but we do have information based videos, and I think that's what attracting people to our website. Having said that, you don't only want to have images about your product, right? You want to have a variety of different content that will be associated with your audience and your user base. So in our case, for example, we not only have boards related to the type of education that we do, for example, a small business webinar, search engine optimization, business blogging, etc. We also have other things such as member boards. I personally live in Vancouver in Canada, so when I'm out and about and taking pictures, I upload them on our business profile on Pinterest. And if I find anything of interesting, nothing to do with our business per se, but if I find things interesting on online, I also upload them to our Pinterest profile as well. So other than product images, other than product information, you can upload information about your company, you can upload images around your city, you can take pictures of your employees, of your customers, and I'll come back to how other businesses are using that when we do case studies in a minute. But there is a variety of different content that you should be uploading on Pinterest to engage with your user base. If you do have something that you are selling, you can also add price information to that particular pin as well. So for example, let's say if this video I was selling for, let's say, $100, all I will have to do is click on edit, and anywhere in the description, either the beginning, end, or somewhere in the middle, all I have to do is type in a $ and the price information that I want. And as I do that, you would notice that this price information, or the image itself, gets a ribbon on the upper left hand corner with the price information. So you can put the price information simply by using the $ and the price that you want to include that, and you can include that either in the beginning of the description, end of the description, or anywhere in the middle. Currently, you can only do this with two currency symbols, either a $ or a British pound. So either a $ or a British pound. You cannot do it with other currency symbols such as euros or yen, but only with dollar and euros. Only with dollar and British pounds. Once you have built your Pinterest board and are comfortable with this, the next thing you want to do is invite your friends and find friends and invite them to become a fan or a follower of your page. And you can do it in a variety of different ways. You can invite your Facebook friends. Because we already have Twitter, it's not included in here, but if you didn't, then Twitter will be included in here as well. Or you can connect to your Gmail or Yahoo account or your personal email account and send an email to all of your contacts in your email account and invite them to follow you on your Pinterest profile. Once you have done that, step 9 would be to engage with those friends and engage with those followers, but also to engage with a larger audience on Pinterest. And how you do that is finding the pins that are related to you, that you find helpful, and commenting on them, liking them, following them as well. So for example, if you were to go to Martha Stewart, for example, actually I don't know who Marie Claire is, it's in my URL, so let's go to Marie Claire. There are a couple of ways you can follow other boards. You can either click on the follow all, which will allow you to follow every board that the profile has, and anytime any of those boards are updated, you would get notified about that. Or you can follow a particular board or particular boards if you like. So for example, if I was only interested in books worth reading, I can simply click on follow that, and I can follow Drink Up if I was interested in that. And if I'm not interested in the rest of the profile, then only when these two boards get updated, I will get notification. When you follow other people, they are likely to follow you back. When you comment on other people, they are more likely to engage with you, and that's how you want to create engagement with them. So who do you engage with? You would want to engage with people who have similar services that you do. They may be your competitor, but not necessarily. They may be providing services similar to what you provide, or they may have a customer base which is similar to yours, but you are not competitors. You most certainly want to follow them, and you perhaps also want to follow their followers. So for example, let's say we were in a complementary business as this business, and you can see that she has about 16,000 followers. If I click on them, it will give me a list of all of her 16,000 followers, and I can then follow these 16,000 or some of these 16,000 followers in the hope that now they will also see my Pinterest account as well and perhaps want to follow me as well. So this is how you will begin to engage with your user base on Pinterest. That's not to say that that is the only way you can do it, but this is the start of the engagement process with them. And step number 10, which will bring us to our conclusion of our 10 steps, is to make sure that you have an appropriate way to allow people to pin images from your own website. So if you go to our website, you will notice a whole bunch of icons here that you can share our website with, including a Pinterest one. As a matter of fact, let me actually take you to our blog because that will make more sense. So as I was here before in our most recent blog, and if you scroll all the way down, it will allow you to share this particular blog post on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, etc. And if they were to click on Pinterest, it will then ask them, it will find the image, or if you have more than one image, and it will allow them to pin that particular image on Pinterest. So you make sure that you are giving your visitors to your own website the ability to pin images from your website on their own Pinterest account. So essentially this brings us to our 10 steps of starting marketing on Pinterest, from creating your account, building your profile, and engaging with the users on Pinterest. Let me take you through some of the case studies on Pinterest that you might find helpful. These are all small businesses who are using Pinterest to market their business. The first one I want to take you through is Mike the Gardener. Mike the Gardener has a Seed of the Month club, where if you join the club you get seeds for the month that you can plant to grow fruits and herbs, etc. in your own home garden. Now if you notice his pins, he is not selling his product. What he is selling are things associated with his products. So for example, books worth reading are the books about growing organic food. He may also have, for example, favorite places and spas, which may have nothing to do with growing food, but it may be of interest to the same user base. Gardenaholics Anonymous is probably a good one. He probably would want to create a recipe board, which will allow them to see recipes of things that they can make with the food that they're growing in their own home garden. So this is a good way to see what other small businesses are doing. And as you can see, he has a website address, Twitter, Facebook, and then his local location here as well. The next one I want to show you is not a consumer-oriented product, but is very much a business-to-business product. Prima Supply supplies restaurant equipment to restaurants. This is very much of a business-to-business product. It is not a consumer product, not a retail product, and very much like Mike the Gardener, they are not selling their equipment on the Pinterest board. What they are selling are things associated around the things that they sell. So for example, creative kitchens has nothing necessarily to do with the equipment that they're selling, but certainly if you are building a creative kitchen in your restaurant, many of the equipment that you would use are probably you can buy from this company. Again, things we like may or may not have anything to do with the business itself. Food stuff, again, not the equipment that they're selling, but because they're selling to restaurants who are probably going to be interested in food as well. So those are very good examples. The next one I will show you is how somebody is actually using Pinterest to take it to the next level of engagement with their customer base. So Kelly Lester sells lunch boxes. As you can see, not a very sexy business, but she has almost 9,000 followers, right? Nothing to sneeze at. So how is she engaging with her customer base? Again, she's not necessarily selling her product that much, but one of the best things that I've seen her doing is lunchbox adventures. What she's asking her buyers to do is take a picture of themselves or of a location with her lunch boxes. So here is somebody using a lunchbox with the Statue of Liberty picture. Here is somebody using a lunchbox at a Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, right? So you have now people interested in taking pictures with her product as they go out and about. You can run something similar. You can even turn this into a contest where you say, okay, you can add a picture and the best picture will win some kind of a prize, right? Whatever the reward award price might be. It doesn't have to be expensive. It could be a free coffee at a Starbucks, right? Or it could be a ticket for two to see a movie, whatever. It doesn't have to be expensive, right? So you can see the level of engagement is now to the next level where it's going simply beyond following them and liking them and commenting on them, but it's getting them to be more engaged with you. So this is the kind of marketing that you need to get into if you are serious about using Pinterest as a marketing tool. So with that, pretty much comes to a conclusion of our webinar today. If you do run any contest, please make sure that you have read the Pinterest terms and conditions. If you go to pinterest.com/about/terms, make sure that you're abiding by Pinterest terms and conditions if you are going to run any kind of contest on Pinterest. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook, but more importantly, don't forget to follow us on our LinkedIn group. If you go to bit.ly/small business accelerator, you will be able to join our LinkedIn group, and we will be adding a lot more resources on our LinkedIn group. So I highly recommend that you join us there. Until our next webinar, have a great day.